you ready to party? Let's go.
Seth Hirschkorn.
Hey.
Welcome to the podcast, my friend.
Thanks for having me.
It's been a while. You know what's off right now is I don't have my fucking glasses off. That's why I'm like kind of can't see right. Anyways,
You're right. You don't have your glasses on.
Yeah, we're gonna roll it. We're gonna fucking roll this. Before we start, if you can, please like, subscribe, leave us a review on Apple Podcast and Spotify. It matters. It helps us out. Thank you so much. Back to Seth.
Hey.
Anyways, Seth, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah.
This has been a long time coming.
It's been in the conversation for a while.
Yeah, I think you came a couple weeks ago, but I was in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It was like last month, right? We were supposed to record, and of course, I knew it was going to happen. My flight got delayed.
Yep.
Chicago O'Hare, you suck. But
That's probably the worst airport I've been
terrible.
in. Yeah.
It's terrible, dude. Absolutely terrible.
It just feels old.
Yeah.
It's
It's not good.
You like that one? Welcome, by the way.
Yeah,
Then, you don't like his LAX better, you think?
Yeah.
O'Hare?
I think so.
Okay. I don't know. I feel like every time I go somewhere else, it's like, oh man, LAX. Ugh.
I also though I'm weird in the fact that I don't think LA traffic is that bad. I know, isn't that crazy?
What?
It doesn't bother me.
First person ever, ladies and gentlemen.
Seth hasn't been here
Seth,
long enough.
It doesn't
Clearly
bother
isn't
me.
from here.
Of all the times I've been here, I've been here a dozen times or more. Of all the times I've been here, the traffic's never bothered me. I'd rather drive in LA traffic than Denver. Denver sucks.
I haven't
really?
been in Denver in a long time. Is it pretty packed?
Oh, it's
now?
awful. Good.
Really?
I feel like it's only a 3-lane interstate the whole way through, and it's just congested all the time.
Wow.
I hate it.
Well,
But yeah, LA traffic doesn't bother me that bad.
damn, man. Yeah, I've gotten to the point. I mean, you kind of live. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Sam and Jordan, but you growing up here and living here over time, you get used to factoring in the traffic into your daily life.
It's subconsciously,
Right.
You already know,
Yeah.
like, okay, I got to leave like 30 minutes early, 40 minutes, an hour.
Yep.
Yeah,
Well,
and
and
anything to LA
yeah.
is 2 hours.
I'm like a pretty early person too, so it just
Yeah.
I look at how long it takes to get somewhere, and I
Right.
plan for that.
Well, Sam, so you lived downtown Long Beach for a minute, right?
Yeah, man, it was the worst.
Isn't it tough getting to the freeway from there?
Oh yeah, yeah.
sucks.
It's terrible. Well, so I lived right off right there off Ocean. So I just took I got on the 710 pretty quick because I lived in downtown. So getting on the 710 and then but taking the 710 up is just it's
freaking
always
nightmare.
because you have those big rigs coming out of the port. So it's crazy.
Maybe I'll go try that and change my mind.
We gotta go down there and
Okay,
ride fucking
all right.
birds and stuff, or the birds. Is it bird?
Yeah, it's birds. And
Oh,
stuff.
the
scooters.
The scooters.
Yeah.
The lime or bird scooters.
It sounded wrong to me too. It's like
We're going to go down there and ride some birds.
Gonna go ride some
Like,
chicks.
what's in
I'm
your
traumatized
what's
after
in your
Justin's
tea there?
story. I don't know. I'm hesitant of the
wild.
scooters.
Yeah, that shit was wild.
Yeah.
We were having a good night, and then he decides to fly off a freaking speed bump. We rode our scooters from the Queen Mary to downtown Long Beach.
Yeah.
Just being like four friends, we do it quarterly, right? We get on scooters and we go drink, get blasted downtown.
Yeah.
Well, he decides, dude, it's like, you know how it is when you're with your boys? You're just pumped. Or with your girls, ladies, what's up? We're riding. We're on this overpass. You can go over the ocean downtown. Like, yeah, having fun. And dude, we get to downtown and we're going down this hill near ocean, and he decides to hit a speed bump and just like launch and jump off it, right?
Yeah.
Dude, he launched high. He comes down, snaps the scooter in half and his fucking ankle.
Justin.
Justin
That's who
Steele,
did-
who produced this podcast.
Dude, I remember you telling me the story about it. I didn't realize that was him.
Oh yeah, and it got
man.
like, dude, we're so terrible. We just put him in a Uber and went with him to the hospital. Just dropped him off in the ER, went back out and fucking partied.
I'm sorry.
And then we sent him a picture of us drinking and shit. We're just like, no. Dude, that ended up changing his life though.
But yeah, good way. Yeah,
In a good way, but yeah, he went through a lot. He ended up getting like this thing through his arm. You might know this is, but through his heart for antibiotics.
Oh, like a pick line.
PICC line, that's what it was. Yeah, it got bad. Like he had some infection. It was terrible, dude.
Oh no.
Wow. But anyways, Seth, you're from Montana.
The great state of Montana.
Oh my God. So you're born and raised there?
Born and raised, Billings, Montana. Lived for a year in Sheridan, Wyoming. And other than that, it's been all Billings.
Where the hell is Sheridan, Wyoming?
Like 2 hours from Billings, just across the border.
Okay.
Yeah, right there. A little older, kind of like, it's just an older community that's really, it's the crime rate's low. It's really chill. It's very old. Not much to do. Town shuts down around 6 p.m.
Really?
What it feels like. It's not, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great place, though. I miss it.
Is Wyoming where Yellowstone is? Or is
Partially,
that, or is
yeah.
that Montana?
Yeah, Wyoming and Montana.
Okay.
Mostly in Wyoming.
I was trying to set it up where, is it like the show Yellowstone over there? People are just...
Not where I'm at.
Okay.
A couple hours west, and you're in
Is it really like
Yeah.
that? Do you want?
in the show Yellowstone.
Yeah, like,
yeah, it's
is
like
it in
that.
real life.
Oh yeah.
really?
Oh, it looks great.
I thought that. No. I'm talking about how they act.
Oh, I mean, I haven't.
The ranchers
I've
and-
only watched like 6 episodes of Yellowstone, which is probably a sin that I haven't watched all of it because everyone loves it.
It's a great show.
I mean, I enjoyed the 6 episodes. My roommates kept watching and left me behind, and I haven't caught up. But yeah, I mean, it feels kind of like, I don't know much about ranch life, but it feels kind of true to form.
okay.
Seems very stressful.
It seems like
Yeah, they work hard.
Right,
They
yeah.
work hard.
Work hard, party hard.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
They
That's
just murder people.
and
Like,
bury him on the
that
ranch.
part I
Bury 'em,
can't
yeah.
confirm, but I know they work hard and party hard. There's a lot of murder in that show.
Yeah, crazy.
Dude, I rode with a couple buddies. We rode through Montana, Wyoming. We're coming back from South Dakota, Sturgis.
Oh yeah,
Bro, some of the most beautiful motorcycle riding you will ever,
It's
anyone
unreal.
could ever do. If I can suggest anyone that's into like riding motorcycles long, go through Wyoming and Montana.
Did you do Beartooth Pass and the what's it called, Chief Joseph Highway?
Yeah.
Oh, they're incredible.
I wish we could spend more time
Yeah.
over there doing it, man. It's amazing. I mean, people always want to travel and get out of the U.S., right? Like, travel and taking pictures on planes. And I always think like, but there's so much to see in the U.S.
No, let them travel other places. We like Montana quiet. No, it's no. Don't no.
Keep them out.
Go other places. It's great there.
I got you, man. So you grew up there. When did you come out here to Cali? Or are you staying out here for a while?
Yeah, I'm out here for a bit, working for our mutual friend Justin, kind of ping-ponging back and forth because I love Montana and want to call it home. And so I'm working out here, doing some of this stuff, podcasting, working on my own, and then trying to engage the creative process of writing and just seeing where creativity can take me maybe from, I don't know if I'd call it a career standpoint, but just the room to create more. And I feel like it was cool opportunity out here. Yeah.
What is your podcast?
It's called Honesty is My Religion.
Beautiful.
Kind of this like spiritual, self-reflective, humanist podcast where I kind of just examine the world through my story and my experiences. So
Got you.
Yeah.
So your podcast, so everybody knows you were a youth pastor for a while, right?
like 8 years. Yeah.
Okay. And you're not doing that anymore.
No, I'm not. I left the church in 2016 and then kind of leaned into, I guess you'd call it agnosticism. That's one of the things I don't like about the spiritual world is that we need like a term and definition for everything.
Yeah.
But I guess agnostic is the best thing I could call myself for the sake of labeling.
Well, for our listeners who don't know kind of those, what's the best way, religious terms or church terms, how would you describe agnostic?
I would describe agnostic as, for me, being open to the mystery of a potential God or not a God.
Okay.
I don't know what God is. I don't know if it's real or not. But I'm open to it.
Right. So it's not atheist where you don't believe in anything, right?
Right.
But you do believe there's a higher power.
There might be.
Yeah.
I'm not certain, but I'm inclined towards it because I think there's a lot of really cool shit in this universe that would, for me personally, incline me towards that. 'Cause
Yeah.
the universe is cool. There's so much stuff going
Oh
on.
my God, dude! That's why I've said on here before, but I followed the Hubble telescope. I mean, the pictures, and it's just it makes you realize how tiny we are in this
Oh yeah.
universe.
I hope that new telescope spits out some really cool images.
Oh my God, dude! They had to hire. They hired like 20-something theologians.
They did.
I was
Did
like,
you hear about that?
No, I didn't actually.
Yeah, they hired it's NASA, right? Made it
Yeah,
NASA.
NASA.
They shot this new was it a camera, right?
It's a telescope,
Telescope into outer space, and it's so high tech, and they've been working on it for years.
Yeah.
They hired like 20 plus theologians to come on to talk with them and help them. Like, hey, once we discover other life, like this thing can take pictures so far into outer space. They're like, we need to prep the world for other life. So how do we break that to them? So they hired these theologians. Like, how do we do that? You know?
To prep everybody for
Yeah.
the information.
Yeah, like lead us through this. How do we break this information when we discover other life?
Yeah. Was it? I think it was on our group text or maybe it was something through Instagram or whatever. But there was like a little chopped up video that had like it was it was from, I don't know if it was from this telescope or not, but it was like showing, it's like the planets and then the Milky
I
Way
put that on my
galaxy.
story.
Yeah,
that was
and then
me. I
as
put that up on
yeah,
Friday.
Okay, yeah, so
Yeah,
that's
it was
what
good morning, dude.
But like, it's crazy, right? To think it's like, I mean, because if it's like dissecting. What does the word or the term infinite really mean?
Well, dude, we're one galaxy amongst probably billions. When you remember that video, you see it pull out. You see the Milky Way galaxy that we're in.
Oh, it's just a little tiny
and then
blip.
it pulls out. There's like all these other ones, and just keeps getting bigger. I'm like, oh, dude, this
It's
shit-
like
it
Men in
zooms
Black,
out to the
dude.
observable universe and
Right.
it's nuts.
it's incredible. That's why I find it interesting because I met you in Montana a long time ago when I was still doing music.
2013 or 14.
I think it was
Yeah,
right around there.
It's been a hot minute.
Yeah, we were still both involved in church, but I don't go to church anymore, and that's why I find it interesting. You were a youth pastor, and you left. Why?
Yeah.
Do you mind answering why you left?
Absolutely. I think it, let's take this universe conversation as part of it. I mean, that alone, for this massive, expansive universe to contain simply one threaded story of truth is hard for me. That's difficult. I mean, that was... that's a piece of it, but there's a ton of pieces of it. Like I'm professionally trained as a historian, so that's my degree, and then I taught public school history for a while. And from a history perspective, I know there's people that can argue the Bible and what they think is its validity. From a history standpoint, the story doesn't really add up for me.
Gotcha.
So I struggle with it historically. I'll isolate one thing and not to again, I realize that there are people who could sit in this room and refute it, but early in the Bible, there is a mass exodus of people from Egypt back to their promised land. There's no archaeological evidence of 3 million people, what we assume, maybe in that ballpark, 3 million people moving, and there's got to be evidence of that. That's a lot of people moving in a group.
Right,
to
you're
another
talking
location.
in a time where it's like literally on foot.
Yeah.
With whatever. I
Yeah.
think they had horses.
And
but-
granted, the land changes over time, things change, maybe dates in the Bible are off or not completely accurate, but I think from a historical lens, I need more conclusive evidence of some of these things. And I've been to Israel. I've seen some of these places. Yeah, I went to Israel for a couple weeks and went to some of these sites and where historians think things happened. And there's this great actually magazine called the Biblical Archaeological Review where they take the Bible and use it for their site digs. And so that could be evidence. I don't think that evidence necessarily points to a divine being or that Jesus is God. I think there's just it was a giant web of things. Another tough thing for me is the idea of hell, an all-loving God sending people to hell. It's creation. I struggled with that. And then I think it all culminated this one night at youth group. I call it Whiteboard Night, where I got kind of sick of assuming what people wanted to hear, what they wanted me to preach about. So I brought in these 2 giant whiteboards, and I just handed a bunch of mics out to the students, and I just started saying, like, what are your fears, doubts, insecurities, worries, tensions with faith and life? And they started asking these questions that were astounding. Everything from... Gosh, I wish I had the list here. I keep it on my computer because I need to go back and read it sometimes just to be reminded of how profound even teenagers can think. But all these questions about fear and sin and connection to their parents, connection to people, stuff that I felt intellectually dishonest, slapping a Bible verse on and saying, here, it's all better.
Yeah.
And stuff that far beyond even the scope of faith, it would take all kinds of psychologists, therapists, people to work through this stuff. But at the end of the night, this one girl, she was one of the last questions. She grabs the mic and she says, will you go to hell if you're gay?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And there was this thing in me that happened where two things happened. I felt horrible for this little girl that she assumed an all-loving God would hate her, send her to hell because of something she biologically can't control. And then second, it wrecked the shit out of me thinking I put that thought in her head.
Oh.
That was my fault. Wow. And so I was like, so the whole next year I started teaching from the whiteboard questions and trying to address them and really just asking more questions to students than giving answers, letting them think for themselves. And eventually I was just like, I got to go. Wow. And yeah, I told my boss on the way out, I said, I don't know if I'm a pastor because I'm a Christian or a Christian because I'm a pastor. Right. And I said, I fear it's the latter of the two.
That's
deep. Yeah.
It seems like you have a lot of self-awareness when it comes to yourself and just life and spirituality.
Yeah, it's because I'm insecure.
Aren't we all in some way?
Exactly, yeah.
Come on, dude.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's deep.
It's deep shit, man.
And it's such interesting because with like the youth pastor, if you're like target audience that you're preaching to is kind of the mid-teen range, there's a lot of questions, and the one that you brought up, Sharon, which thank you for sharing that information. It's tough, right? Because in the Bible it says that you're it's a sin essentially to be homosexual. And it's like one of those things where it's like, well, if it says it, then it has to be it. Versus like, but the other, there's so many other references for this all loving, all
God is love,
right?
Things like that. Yeah.
And I mean, when you hear that kind of stuff, from that standpoint, it's tough because you're trying to like talk to kids, you know what I mean? And if that kid or whoever you're referring to felt that way, or maybe has a friend or family member, whatever, and is concerned about them, it's like, how do you bridge that gap? And my philosophy on that has always been, like the telegram game, I mean, for centuries, everything is passed down between stories, right? Within the tribes, and then it expands and so on and so forth. And to the point at which the Bible is written or put together and then reversioned, translated, reversioned, and I think at a certain point that, you have to take into account that everything written in that maybe isn't spot on to how it actually happened.
Yeah.
And because like with anything, like if I had a story that I told you and then you went and told some friends at like 8:00 tonight, I'm sure that story would change.
Yes.
Whether it's not to make it sound more entertaining or maybe make it sound more fearful or learning or whatever the case is. And so I followed that for a long time too when it comes to, going to church and kind of getting the interpretations and then, them telling you how you should be versus like, well, what was, is this just a moral foundation thing?
Yeah.
Why, like more specifically, like why is that even in there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you think like if they're writing everything out at the time, like morally, foundation wise, there's a lot of good stuff, right? We don't want to kill each other.
Yeah.
Want to be nice to each other. Love your family. I said family twice. But
Don't be a dick.
yes, that should be number one.
That should be
Don't
number
a
one,
dick.
dude.
It really, it's just like a little
assholes.
You ever
dude?
seen that meme? It's just a little pocket Bible. It's like little tiny, and you open up, it just says, "Don't be a dick."
Yeah.
Like, here's the pocket Bible for you.
Yeah, but so using that idea, that approach to like writing these like morally founded like statements of how you should live your life per how the Bible states it. I think it's really interesting that they kind of like snuck that one in there. Like, and by the way, you don't be homosexual. So like to me, the way that I interpreted that was that I bet you whoever was writing this had some shit go down in their personal life with, it was either a family member or kid or whatever, and they felt against that, and that influenced them to sneak that one in there because it's not like in the top. I don't know where that one ranks.
Yeah.
In the it's not one of the. Oh my god.
It's not a 10 Commandments.
It's not a 10 Commandment thing. That's what I'm saying. Like outside of the 10 Commandments, it's like there's a lot of gray area.
It seems like it.
So
I'm glad you brought that up because I think for me, in understanding what the Bible is as a book, it's like certain people at a certain time with certain experiences, a worldview, everything, trying to interact with a deity they believe in. And that's so much of what I think pastors try and do is apply that context. But what's difficult is like, does that change? Does that evolve? Because we're at a different place, a different time, a different context. Right. And so how do you take an ancient book and make it applicable to a world that is completely different?
Right.
Where humans might be similar in our experiences, emotions, feelings, but the world is different.
But I think that's the part where if you're like, I mean, like I don't know if you can say a good pastor, right?
Yeah,
but you're just a good storyteller, really, is being able to make things applicable to regardless of where we're at, like, in the life cycle of human beings in general.
Totally.
Right? So it's like they're trying to always make that applicable, whereas I feel like some of the better ones, can bridge that gap without it being like, nope, it says this. That's it.
Yeah.
Right? If you don't do this, you're going to hell. And then when you brought that up earlier, I thought that was interesting about talking about like, is there even a hell?
Yeah.
And it's like, whether you believe it or don't, like I'm not saying what's right or wrong. Like, I just think that if you look at a lot of old school philosophy stuff, they have to tie in, like even not just in Christianity, but in all religions, there's always the hell version. right? And it's like, if you think about it, like most of the times at that time, everything is a lot of fear-induced, being able to get people to do something, right? You don't want to do it because it's a sin, because if it's a sin, you're going to go to hell. Or if you're, Greek mythology, right? You're going to be in Hades and burn it and all this stuff. So it's like, I feel like a lot of that too is really heavily leaned upon as far as to get that information out there and to have it stick.
Absolutely.
Right? It's like, if you're not back by 8 o'clock, you're going to, you're not
whip your ass.
Yes. Yeah. Right? So it's like, okay, well, I'm going to be back by 8 because that just...
like our moms, huh?
It was both my parents, yeah.
I grew up the same way. So, yeah. Love you, Mom. She's a strong woman.
Yeah. Mom and Dad.
Yeah. But no, it's just that whole it's crazy.
Yeah. I think that's all like very fascinating observation of from maybe good to great pastor, things like that. I think I'm with you that I think there are still great pastors. I think the ones that I tend to still try and follow and lean into to know what's going on, maybe in the Christian realm, are the ones who ask the most questions. Because I think with something as heavy as religion, we should be asking more questions and giving answers at all times. Because if it is the divine, if it is magnificent and expansive and unlimited, we should have more questions than answers, always.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the push, right? Is that I don't know. I've never been one to just be like, this is this, period.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that just take things for face value.
Absolutely.
Right? If you're, I was told this is how it goes. I think we should encourage the questioning because it's going to do one of two things, right? It's either going to reconfirm your faith or but then it also might expand your knowledge realm. If we don't ask questions and if you don't think about it and whatever your spiritual journey is personally, whether, you start like heavily Christian foundation, now it sounds, you said agnostic.
Yeah.
Whether that leads back into Christianity later in life and or another one, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I think that's how we grow as individuals on our spiritual journeys on how it is. Like I went for a long time, I was very Christian based growing up, a lot of church, youth group, all that stuff. And when I got out of high school, I was like, what? Like, what, is this really it? Is this it? And
you have more freedom. You're trying to figure out the world and understand things. It changes.
Yeah. And I had a lot of, for me personally, I had a ton of questions in regards to the career choice that I went into, where I had a lot of, using the term of if the God's all loving and, all this, why is there so much evil in the world? And why do, it's like, you save a junkie on the street, from killing themselves, but you can't save a 3-year-old in a car crash. You know what I mean? How does this play out? Now these are I know they're
very existential. No, absolutely. And I think they're questions, and that's where I experienced Whiteboard Night. They're questions that we all have. Yeah. And I think there's a very human part of us that wants answers, and I arrived at a place where maybe there aren't, and that's okay.
And that's it. And just kind of going with that, it was just more along the lines of, through my spiritual journey of having okay, I thought this was how it was going to be. And I questioned things for a long time. And then certain things happened in my life that made me go back to kind of leaning on my faith and then kind of redefining what my faith is. Mm-hmm. I don't go to church every weekend. I'm not as far as bound to I don't want to say structure, but, getting in just because I go to church every Sunday, I'm good to go.
The rhythm or routine of it, if you will.
But I do have open, faith, understanding of where I feel about everything. And I think that as you get older, doing the things that you're talking about, asking the questions, redefining what your thought process is not only healthy, but I think it will make you stronger in whatever belief that you believe at the end of the day, right?
Yeah. And I think that's really beautiful because if that is the way it unfolds for you, I think at the end of the day, whatever, and this is why I don't shit on Christianity as much. I do.
Shit on it a lot now, dude.
I do. But I think if it is something that is bringing you a sense of, let's take those good moral truths, qualities, if it's making you a more peaceful person, loving, generous, kind, a loose term good, then do it. That's beautiful.
Right.
But if it's not, figure that shit out.
Right. And I think that you use the term shitting on whatever religion it is. I think that you should expose yourself to people that have that point of view, because that's the only way you're going to be able to either reaffirm what you believe or to loosely define where you're going in that spiritual journey.
That's a beautiful way of saying it.
You know what I mean? Like, because that's exactly how I felt. You know, I felt like it's like, okay, I had one way, and then I totally stopped believing everything. And then I kind of restructured to how I feel about it. Now, I don't agree with a lot of the stuff, but I think morally, foundation-wise, there's a lot of good things to help you, at least personally, stay on a path of, I don't want to say good, because that's like such
a loose term.
It's a loose term, but maybe to help you make better decisions within your life and how to treat people and how to treat, you know, family, things like that, and what's morally important to you and how that can like build, you know, so it's such a weird, like, it's
great.
a crazy topic.
And that's kind of how I define Christianity from my lens now, is like at its best, I think it is a beautiful moral compass that can lead people to a sense of peace and freedom. At its worst, I'm going to go back to what you said earlier, maybe it's a structure for control and power. Because I think both exist.
Power, money, because
I think both exist.
Yeah, you could see some of these pastors, I'll give you Joel Osteen. Why does he need a 17,000 square foot home?
It doesn't.
I've never had one, so I don't know. But when I get one,
seems cool.
I'll tell you why I need it.
Yeah, well, you know, there's a couple, and I talked to you about it this week, Seth, but there's a couple Instagram accounts called Profits and Watches.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Profits and Shoes, right, or something like that. And they're showing these preachers, Profits and Watches, they're showing preachers with like $200,000 watches on. Now, I can't say shit because I got to, but.
It's a sexy watch.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, when you're in that type of leadership, and you're wearing a $200,000 watch, and you're wearing a $1,000 pair of shoes and a Gucci jacket, and you're up there preaching, you're telling people to give you more money, I have a problem with that.
And you're talking about an essentially homeless rabbi from the Middle East. Like, it's like, I don't know. I don't know.
I will not connect with that. I don't agree with it at all. And because they're playing off people's emotions. You know, there's so many stories of these elderly people, right, who are giving their money to these churches on TV and stuff. They have nothing. Or people who don't have much. They're like, I'm going to give more. And who knows where that money's going? Is it going to missions? Is it going to feeding the poor? Is it going, you know, I believe in all that. And I think that stuff should be done. I'm a huge proponent of it. I would say I'm agnostic. I don't go to church anymore. I experienced a lot, and it was good for the time I was there. But what really opened my eyes is when I went through my divorce.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe the amount of people in church, quote unquote Christians, who turned into the most complete pieces of shit I've ever met and backstabbers. And to this day still affects me. Like, I get emotional thinking about it because my thought is that's not how we're supposed to treat people. If I'm going through a hard time, make mistakes, whatever, you're supposed to accept me as I am. And that's where my life changed, because the people who did help me get through those tough years weren't believers. It was I had two friends that were homosexuals, other people who damn near atheists, you know, and I'm thinking they have a bigger heart, more love and kindness, and are showing more of what Christ was on earth than people who are sitting in a church proclaiming that they're Christians. It threw me off for a long time. Yeah. So it just changed me to the point where it's like, I can't deny that there isn't a higher power. I've had experiences in my life multiple times where I should have been dead. And things happened where I'm like, what the fuck was that? Yeah. You know, you're kind of like,
someone was looking out.
Yeah, I'm like, my man.
Yeah.
Thank you. But I can't deny in the, you know, when I'm out cycling or when I'm running and I'm hiking and I'm surfing, skydiving, there's this interesting connection with creation that I get. And for me, it may sound weird to people, but there's a deep spiritual connection that I can't describe to people. And it's just, to me, it's like, hey, there's something out here to be discovered. Why do I like being out in the wilderness? Why do I love being under the stars at night in the desert? Why do I love falling through the sky and, you know, seeing the curvature of the earth? How come I love following the Hubble telescope and see it's this discovery of what true life is and what is the meaning of why I'm here, you know? And those times changed me because, you know, we all grew up in church. Sam, we went to the same private school. You know, it's really interesting to have this conversation because, you know, I'm trying to word this right here. What I remember from the Gospels and how we're supposed to treat people and how Christ was on earth was love. Love and acceptance. And everything I read in there, and I remember, he never judged anybody. No one. To the point where he died on the cross for everyone, right? To me, I'm like, that's how I need to live. I'm just going to love on everybody and accept them for who they are. We don't need... When we mess up, We freaking know when we mess up. You don't need to tell them anything. You don't need to sit here and condemn and woe is you and point fingers. But what changed me is love. Somebody's saying like, dude, we don't need to talk about what happened. Are you okay?
Yep.
Let's go get a drink. Let's freaking stay at your house and make some food and barbecue or whatever and figure it out. Yeah. And it's changed my thought and my heart so much on that stuff and spirituality and what it really is. And it makes you question a lot. But when you question it with other people who are Christians or believers, you kind of get shit on.
I think that is you're first of all, absolutely, you're totally right. And I've heard, out doing the podcast and stuff and like talking outside of this, I've got a lot of your experiences in that. And like I think that it's really unfortunate because I think that at the end of the day, it's really easy to lump people into like, if like there's a group of people like at church, dude, everyone's like, I'm Christian. And everyone's like, well, heck yeah. But when you have someone going through a life experience that may be deemed negative on church standards, I feel like the people that come out and like, pointing fingers, like those people outside of church are still shitty people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, I think that's kind of like, that's like when you say like, because, and I agree with you. Like I have a ton of examples of where you're like, what? Like this,
Yeah.
I can go, we won't even go into a lot of this stuff, but where I'm thinking like, this is ridiculous. This is the pastor, right? And he's doing this stuff on the side.
Yeah.
Let's turn the AC on, guys. Hold on.
No worries. Yeah, but where I'm going with that is like, it's so unfortunate because the human element is always there.
Yeah.
Right? Like church is sometimes no different than you want to call it a clique or a group or whatever. And it's like, we're all on the inside and it's really easy when you're on the inside to shun anyone outside of that bubble.
Yeah.
And the only difference is that when it's a church thing, you're backed because, in the Bible it says to do this and it says to do this. So it's easy to cast judgment. But when you're looking at the stories of, more specifically to Jesus, it's like, dude, this guy's like the perfect nice person, right? Always willing to give, always going the extra mile, never casting judgment, promoting to live your life this way. And yet it spun the largest, religious base in the world. And but even with that the people still can suck.
Yeah.
And I think that's the tough part.
Well, and that's what gets me curious is exactly what you're saying. Like, religion is this standard of how to live. Some might call it rules, regulations, things like that. But what's fascinating to me in it is that continual human experience. Like, we're all the same humans. I realize we're unique, but we all have similar experiences and everything, or feelings. Right. But it's that human experience that got me really curious. Like that night with the whiteboards, it was like, there's something that's missing from the human side of this religion thing that I need to go explore. Because both of you have just talked about your experiences with this religious thing, and it seems like the thing that rises to the top is the human experiences don't match up with the spiritual ones necessarily.
Yes,
right. We have spiritual experiences. They're important and valuable. I've had those too. I feel like there's times I've interacted with God, whatever God might be. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it seems like the human experiences are belittled or diminished in the face of religion, and we don't spend enough time talking about the very human things like a divorce, like a job change, trying to rectify all of the shit going on then in the face of religion. It's very complex.
Yeah.
And for me just to put the stamp of Christianity on it felt very emotionally and intellectually dishonest.
Yeah.
I agree with you. Sam, actually, I want to, since you grew up with this, what do you think, dude?
I've been thinking so much this entire time.
I know, you get to sit back and hear it all.
Bro, I am just like, oh yeah, man. It's crazy. So I think a lot of it has to do with, so Jesus was perfect, and we're not. So Jesus came and basically, I think of him as a teacher who came and said, you know what, students? You're doing wrong, but you're also a nice kid, but I'm still the teacher. So they looked at him as, you know what? Yeah, teacher said that. But now that teacher's gone, we're all judging ourselves.
Interesting analogy.
Right.
The teacher left the classroom, and now the students do whatever the fuck they want.
Exactly. And then
that's good.
Right. So there's that. Thank you, bro. So there's that. Right. And then there's also.
I can't wait till we get that camera on Sam.
Oh no.
Oh man. And then there's also the fact that we know the future. We know, like, hey, or not that we know, but we've told ourselves, like, you know what? When we die, then there's this. I was listening to you, Jordan, say there's this thing called hell. And then not the only way, but a big way to get people to do what you want them to do now is to tell them that when you die, you're gonna burn for the rest of your life.
Fear.
Hey,
Right,
if you
fear.
don't- if
Right.
you don't- if you don't do your assignment, you're not going to recess.
Right.
Exactly.
So Sam, how many times
Right.
when we talked, I mean to cut you off. I want you to keep going, but I was talking to my sister about this, but we had this conversation. The way we grew up, it's like our parents kept us in fear.
Oh yeah.
All the time.
All
and
time.
I told my sister this the other day, I'm like, when I have kids, I'm not going to do that.
Nope.
I was like, we were always in fear.
Nope.
You're going to be in trouble. You're sinning.
Yep.
You're going to go to hell. If it's like, what the fuck?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Dude,
Yes.
just kids.
We're kids.
Constantly.
Yeah,
right.
like, come on.
But then if you're kept in fear at such a young age, then you grow up in fear. But at least, you're in that bubble, which also leads me to the next thing, which is if you question, if you have a religion and you continue to question it, what does that do? You end up basically like you. Right? I mean, basically, you question it, and then you almost question yourself out of it. And if you do that, then the religion loses numbers. And numbers are huge because numbers is how you spread.
Yeah.
I mean, in church, that's what they say, right? We need to spread the gospel everywhere. Spread the gospel. And if people are constantly questioning, then those numbers are constantly dropping, and the religion isn't spreading.
And I have people in my life who've done the questioning and found a deeper faith.
Exactly. Yes.
And so maybe part of it is the type of question you ask. Maybe it's your brain chemistry. Maybe it's your experiences, your family. I mean, there's so much that goes into it, but I think it's a really valid point, Sam, of like questions can be dangerous for structures and systems.
Right.
Very dangerous.
Right. So you question in a framework. And when you stay inside that framework, like you were saying, then you can grow deeper and you can also stay within the bubble or the box that you've been in or that everybody else is in. And this is kind of like what we've been talking about every time we do this podcast, Tim, about people with agendas and wanting to keep everybody else that is either in the agenda or out of it, keep them within, wherever, they're needed.
Well, look at our government right now, right?
Exactly.
You question what they're doing, it's like, no, they get on you.
Politics, religion. Right. Exactly. Same
Oh,
thing.
yeah.
Same thing.
That was good, dude.
Yeah, well,
Damn.
Wisdom bomb.
yeah, he goes, talking now. Jesus was a teacher, and we've been on a substitute teachers for thousands of years. Now, when we were talking about this a little bit, it's like, if you think about the time frame that, like all these, I mean, if we're speaking more so about Christianity versus like any really of the other religion bases, if you think about, well, except the newer ones, but if you think about how life was at the time,
Yes.
right? It was chaotic. There was a lot of, you're either like a nomad or you are within the city confines and worried about being attacked by other groups, about everything at the time. Really, control was based off of fear, just in general, right? It's like, hey, you got to do what you do to live in the city because the city's going to protect you. Right? Otherwise, you're going to be taken over by this other group.
Yeah.
And you think at that time where I feel like that would be the easiest way to make something else seem important if you portray that if you live this negative lifestyle, or not negative, but like sinning lifestyle, that if you die, you're going to go to hell. And then they make hell, it sounds like the worst thing ever. Right? So I think that it probably, to me, it doesn't seem as hard to influence people at that time period. Because then if you get some good storytellers, very
Get them
believable.
around the fire and get them going.
Which is what they did anyway, right? And passing along knowledge and philosophy and stories and all that. It's just the part of life. So to integrate this idea, and whereas if you do this, this is going to happen. It says it right here, blah, 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 So I think that style is very easily pressed upon for the time. And then that just generates, right? And then it's just like the ripple effect.
Well, and with that is an idea of commonality. So have you guys read Noah Yuval Harari's book, Sapiens?
No.
Incredible read. Highly recommend.
How do you say his name?
Noah Yuval Harari. And I think I'm saying that right, but I could be wrong. I don't know. But he writes this book, and you guys actually, I think, talked about it on a previous episode that I was listening to, the idea of Dunbar's number. The sociological idea that at 150 relationships, we kind of have, every human's different, but it seems that there's about this max capacity of 150 that we have the ability to maintain some semblance of relationship with. Beyond that number, you need structures to not only keep you safe, to protect you, but also to stay in contact. and to stay unified. And Harari argues that the two big things that happen out of Neolithic hunters and gatherers is Dunbar's number, and the two things are government and religion, to be able to unify people. The goal is to keep people on the same page, protect them, keep them safe, have rules, customs, things like that. But government and religion are the two big forces and systems that are essentially created to keep people together.
Damn. Yep.
Yup.
Exactly. Yep. Government and religion.
Sam's getting bells like crazy today.
Oh, he's on one.
He's on
dude. I can't wait till we
fire.
get that camera on him.
Just put one on your shirt, dude. So you just
Yeah.
boom.
Yeah.
Well,
Sand
since
drop.
we're kind of on this topic about, religion and the universe and stuff, what do you think about these videos and these documentaries that are coming out with pretty substantial UFO evidence and stuff?
Yeah, I don't know.
And again, hear me out on this. I'm not saying aliens, like green
No,
Martians,
yeah.
but we're seeing things coming to Earth and flying around in our atmosphere that we don't know, and nothing man-made can fly like that. And the government confirmed it.
Yeah.
So, what are your thoughts?
Here's
on
my
that?
honest take. Back in the 50s, there was this futurologist named, I believe it was Arthur C. Clarke. I might be getting his name wrong, but he made these like futuristic videos, like black and white color, and like one of them, he perfectly predicts the future city of how like he's saying things in the 50s, like we're going to be able to instantly communicate on screen, face to face, and just laying out this stuff that at the time was like, you're high, dude.
Right.
But one of my favorite quotes from him is, either we're alone in the universe or we aren't, and both thoughts are equally terrifying.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I've resolved myself. I got a bell.
I don't know if I want that bell. Wait a minute.
Yeah,
Sorry, I had to break up the tension. I was like, he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
either we're alone or we aren't, and both thoughts are equally terrifying.
That's
and,
true.
And for me, it's just like, I don't know about alien life. It's like Clark said, it's possible it's out there or it's not. Either way, I'm just like, that's scary.
My thought is to think that we're the only living thing in the universe. So how big it is, I don't know. And again,
from a simple numbers game of like area, and we know there's other planets, other
Infinite,
places.
dude.
Yeah. With that knowledge alone, it seems unlikely that we're alone.
Right. And I try to say it to certain people that I know, even in my family, because they're still pretty religious. They think I'm nuts, and I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm not saying green Martians are going to attack us. It's like, I don't know anything crazy. I'm just saying, like, we don't freaking know. We have no clue.
I think we're the planet they all avoid. Like,
dude,
don't stop on that shithole. Keep on going
Listen
past
to
the
me.
Milky Way. Take a left. And fucking, like, that hellhole is not worth it.
I told somebody this. Okay, we were drinking a little bit. I was like, aliens probably fly by Earth and lock their fucking doors.
That's so good.
That's why they don't want to fucking.
That's so good.
Yeah, because, dude.
Either that or we are the zoo exhibit.
Oh yeah.
Like they're like just visiting and they're like, yeah, kids, this is called a human.
I never thought of that. So like the zoos we have with animals, that's us.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Wow.
Hey, I got a question. What do you guys think about? Because here I'm gonna go just a little deep.
Yeah,
just a little bit,
Oh,
just real
yeah.
quick, real quick, baby. What do you guys think about the fact that we have the ability to think about other life? That's why other life exists, because we have that existential way of thinking. Maybe that's evidence for existential life. So we can think about aliens. Is there anything else out there besides us?
Yeah.
So maybe that's why aliens have to exist, because we have the ability to think beyond ourselves. Does that make sense?
Like if we couldn't think beyond ourselves,
then it's like the tree in the forest thing.
Yeah.
Tree falls in the forest, doesn't make noise.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So do we have, since aliens are on our minds and we have the ability to construct these heads and these eyes, and this is what they possibly could look like, right? Maybe that is evidence for them actually existing.
I think that's prominent towards the idea of even just religion in general.
In general,
I think,
right.
I think I think what we're all trying to do at the end of the day is make sense of our existence.
Absolutely.
And part of that is examining what other existence is out there. Like, are we alone in the universe? Even from this table, like, do we experience the same things? Which clearly, from a very simple religious conversation, we experience the same things. And then let's like slowly zoom that out from a table experience to a city, to a world, to a universe. I think that's the whole goal of this human thing, is just to try and figure it out for ourselves.
Yeah, I feel like I don't have the right kind of tea for this conversation.
Yeah.
It's like J plus one.
I'm so glad you said so, because I was thinking, I'm like, man, we need to be at another level.
Yeah, I was like, we can get real introspective with that.
Yeah, I mean, and when I say another level, I mean a lot of coffee.
Yeah,
A lot of coffee.
that's what it's chai tea instead of green, you know.
Yeah. I told somebody this, dude, but I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but you bring up a good point, because we say aliens, right? But if there are other lives, what do they consider us?
Exactly.
Aliens.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Aliens. But and then I told somebody this the other day. I'll just say we were drunk. So I was just sitting down. I was like, "Hey, man, what if we're the aliens?" You know what I'm saying?
What
if
I laugh because I want to know their response. 'Cause I think it's a good thought, but I'm like,
response is fucking hilarious. So I was like, what if we're the aliens? What if we crashed here millions of years ago, and every time that a UFO is coming and our fucking military chases it off and shit, they're just trying to get us to go home, and we're fucking it up. You know what I'm saying? And he was just like, "You're out of your mind."
So you think
he's like, so anyway, the Olympics are on, and curling's great.
Whoa, hold on, dude. Curling is awesome.
Okay, it was the first one that popped in my head. I wasn't belittling.
Yeah,
It's I can't do that.
No, I want to do it because I feel like it's the one Olympic sport I could do with a slight buzz. You know what I mean? Like it's like bowling. Like I'm good at bowling, and it's cool because I can have fun while I'm doing it. You know?
Absolutely.
I feel like it would be the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I clean floors like a madman. So like,
You know what I just pictured, dude?
USA team, heads up, I'm coming, baby.
A top-down view. You know how they do a top-down? You see them like sliding through a corner.
Yeah.
Towards the end, you're just hammered, and you just see on your back.
You're just like,
Or you hold on too long and it's just dragging you on your belly.
because those are like, the stones are like 60 pounds, I think.
they're 60 pounds.
Yeah, they're super heavy. So essentially, if you got it going, you could probably like,
Let it pull
if
you
you
for a
passed
little
out
bit.
and held, you just like,
Don't sweep, just save me.
yeah, run away, curler.
Do it.
Dang it, I had something.
We gotta film something like that one, dude. That's fucking hilarious,
I'm gonna
dude.
try.
Okay, well, I guess the first question would be like, where could you even go practice for curling?
In Montana, we have an ice rink and we have a little curling league.
We're going to Montana.
Hey,
Fucking Montana. Let's go.
field trip.
Man,
Field trip.
no, what I was gonna say about the alien stuff is like how you're saying, like, right? What if like we're the aliens? You know, so like let's say on that alien planet, like in the last couple of weeks, where they're like, a telescope was found like in the Milky Way galaxy, pointing at our galaxy, and we're gonna interpret that as like active defense or something. You know what I mean? And like all we can see on the side is it says NASA. Like, what's NASA? That's what is that what they want to call themselves? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Like you really, it's. I mean, I don't know. It's all perspective.
I just want the telescope to like zoom in on a planet and we just see a sign that says send nudes. That's all I want. That's all I'm hoping for out of this telescope. So we'd be like, oh, they are just like us. They're just like us.
Or it just zooms in on an alien.
Existence is the thing. Yeah.
Zooms in on an alien. He's got like a robe, just all disheveled with a cup of coffee, and he's like,
Took you long
"Get out
enough.
of here,
Yeah.
big
God.
deal."
Get off my lawn.
Get off my lawn.
Goddamn kids.
Like Gran Torino, dude.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Dude, Gran Torino would get canceled today. There's no way it'd even go.
Yeah, dude. That or did you guys ever watch The Office?
Yes.
I love that show, but there's no way that show could like be on today, or at least the first like 5 seasons.
Society's too weak.
Okay, but do you think it's still re-aired a bunch? So do you think that's fully true? Like they re-air the hell out of it.
I think it's almost like a legacy. It's
Okay.
just they're kind of I don't know. Does that make
I don't
sense?
either.
Like
Yeah.
they're already in. But if you were to make it now, I don't know. Our society's weak. Everyone, to me, I'm just saying, we got a lot of pussies in this fucking United States.
You got one on this podcast right now, homie.
Oh, what?
Hello. Hello.
I'm sitting right here, dude.
Stupid.
Jeez, wait until I go take a leak.
Man. Well, dude, to get back to you. So when you left church, what did you decide to do with your life?
So I went to be a bartender for a couple of years, just a local
So you went from
microbrewery.
youth pastor to bartender?
It was fun to tell people that. Yeah, it was fun.
I would give you a fat tip, dude. I'd say, here's my tithe.
I'd be like 10%, 10%, 10%, please. Thank you. Put it in the jar.
Every time you give me a drink, be like, thank you, Pastor.
I had some regulars do that. It was great. They would call me Pastor Seth at the bar. It was great. It was great. No, it was good. So I went to be a bartender for a couple years. Went back to school to get my education endorsement because I had my history degree, and then I went and became a high school history teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
How long were you a teacher for?
I did that for 3 years.
Okay.
3 years. Yeah.
And that's the last thing you did before you came out to Cal?
Last thing I did, yeah. I actually recently took a sabbatical, took a year off to try and I realized because whether it was like the transition of faith, I also went through a divorce, just chewed me up and spit me out. I was really close to her dad, and her dad passed away, and I wasn't dealing with any of those in healthy ways. Just a lot of drinking and avoiding and stuff like that.
Dude, I know.
It's what we
I've
do.
been there.
Yeah. And so I just realized I needed to take some time off. So I requested a sabbatical. The school I worked at is so cool. I actually grew up in that school, went back to work for them. They were so gracious with me. Nice. I took a sabbatical, went and walked across Spain for 2 months.
You walked across Spain? I saw those pictures.
Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah, I walked the Camino de Santiago.
Yeah, it took
and that
you
was like
2
a month.
months?
No, it was a month. I was in Spain for 2, though. So it took me 31 days to walk 535 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, it was dope.
Wow. Okay, was that also part of like your weight loss journey?
No.
Was that before?
I lost a bunch before that, yeah.
Okay.
So Jordan knows I used to weigh 300 pounds, and now I'm like 225. Yeah.
300 club, baby. 300 club.
What's that line from Deuce Bigelow? That's a huge bitch. That was me. Yeah, 100%. Yeah. That was me.
Oh, man.
And so and then 2015 I started losing weight, lost about 80 pounds.
Dude, you know what? That's huge.
Thanks.
That's hard to do, bro.
Well, it would have been harder to walk across Spain at that size. So I lost a bunch of weight, walked across Spain, spent some time reflecting, and then actually I just last week resigned from my teaching job to come pursue more stuff down here and just see what else, the world is big, we are small, there's a lot to do. I want to see what's possible.
When you went through Spain that time, was it definitely also kind of like a rediscovery? Because I feel like I had to do that when I went through my divorce.
Here's what was crazy about it is, so you walk this trail, and it's one of the most popular pilgrimage trails in the world. I think it's like a couple 100,000 people walk it a year. I went in a slower season, but you still meet people on the trail. You start walking with people every day, and as you get to know them, you start retelling your story of who you are and what you've been through. And I realized in that there's a lot of stuff I hadn't processed. And there was also this rediscovery of self of like, oh, this is who Seth Hirschkorn is.
Yeah.
In the midst of telling people your story. And they're doing the same things. Because you spend 6 hours, 7 hours a day walking, sometimes 8. And you're just walking with these people talking all day.
Yeah.
And you're sharing stories, you're sharing life. Eventually, the people you walk with predominantly become what's called your Camino family.
That's so rad.
And so I walk with this couple from Wales. I walk with this girl from Austria. I actually walked with a guy right from down here in Huntington Beach.
No shit.
Yeah, I met up with him about halfway through, and we still talk. And I've yet to see him on down here, but I will. People from Germany, France, Czech Republic.
Wow.
It was awesome. And so that's what it was. It was like, I got home and I was like, oh, this is who Seth is.
Yeah.
And that was part of the impetus for like, oh, I'm going to leave my job and do some new things.
To me, that's life.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah,
life
I agree.
Experiences, and you can. It's amazing. What this podcast does too. But when you start hearing other people's stories, I started realizing I wasn't alone in my suffering and pain and my thoughts about my life and trying to figure out who I was, because so much of my identity was because of what I thought people wanted me to do, what the church wanted me to do, what the family, and once that's finally gone, you start standing on your own 2 feet. You're like, well, this is like, I need to find out who I really am.
Yeah.
What do I want? Who is Tim Fisher? Who's Seth? Who's Jordan? It's like, I don't want to do things because people say I should do it. I want to pursue life and the things I want to do because I want to do it.
Yeah, because here's the cool thing. If you don't like it, you stop doing it.
Right.
And you find something else.
Right.
And that's why, to go back to the religion thing, like if someone wants to out with their life and it's beneficial, do it. Whatever that thing is. For you, you are an extreme sports guy, and I love that about you. You have found peace, identity, freedom in doing those things. Like you talked about your connection to the earth and to nature and to the mystery of it all. You found that.
Right.
Keep finding those. And if it doesn't give you that sense of understanding of who you are, stop fucking doing it.
Right. It's not for everybody. You're right. Absolutely. And to say this too, it's like I don't want to crap on people who are Christians or go to church.
Yeah.
I think if that's for you, 100% go for it.
Yes.
I'm just telling you my own personal experience. You know, you're explaining yours and trying to figure out life.
Yeah, that's all.
And
That's all we're learning. Like I said, we're all just trying to understand what exists, what this weird meat suit means on this rock, right? Like that's it.
Well, you brought up something before earlier too, and I struggle with this sometimes, and I'll get kind of depressed, and I'll get hard on myself, and I won't exercise or go mountain bike or cycle or surf, but I'll sit sometimes in my room and lay there if I have it's just kind of rare because I'm so fucking busy now. But when I have time, there's times where I struggle with what is my meaning? Mm-hmm. What am I doing here? You know, like what's the purpose of Tim Fisher?
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just get hard on myself. Like, dude, what am I doing? Am I pursuing the wrong things? Like, am I really having an impact on life? Like, is this real? Is that real? What is this all about? Jordan and I have a unique experiences in our career field and what we do. We see a lot of death.
Yeah.
We see a lot of people leave this life and enter into the next. We see a lot of heroics. We see a lot of violence. We just see there's so much that we're exposed to.
Yeah.
And it makes you question things at times.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you one thing that really has stuck out to me in this career, in all the times that I've seen people pass away, they've never wished that they had more money. They never wished they had more things, houses, cars. It's always, I wish I had more time.
Yep.
I wish I had more time with my family.
Yep.
That shit stuck out to me a lot over the years. So it makes you wonder, like, hey, where am I putting my time?
Yeah.
What am I doing with my life? Am I investing in myself and people to better humanity and those and like, helping people reach their goals and what they're doing? And it just makes you question a lot. You're just like, fuck, what is going on?
Right.
There's a lot of suffering in this world,
A
you
lot.
know? You're kind of like, I don't know, man.
Sam and Jordan, do you guys have that same thing where you guys, like Tim, laying in bed, got some free time, downtime? Do you reflect on that existence as well and go like, what does this mean? Or maybe not what does this mean? That's maybe bigger, but like, what am I doing?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's a human experience, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I think you have to do that in order, just by being a human. That's something that I think by being self-conscious and self-aware, you naturally just do that, you know, and humans are self-conscious and self-aware. So it's almost like you have to, you know, and people that say they don't, it's a lie, you know? Yeah. In order to keep moving, you have, because we're constantly growing and evolving, and that takes self-awareness and self-consciousness. That's
a good point.
So yeah, man, we have to do that.
Yeah, I feel like when I get in bed, I pass out. But
For that split
just-
second
However.
before, though, for that,
in the 50 seconds that it takes me to pass out at night. No, I'm just kidding. I have dude, my brain runs a mile a minute, you know,
Yep.
like I'm constantly, you know, thinking about, you know, many different things, but the questioning of like what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, that's daily, you know, and I think that it's very healthy to do that. Sometimes it can lead you down maybe the wrong emotional response that you were looking for, as in like, yeah, dude, everything's fucking positive. I think that's very unrealistic. And I think that it is good to, you know, have those battles between doubt and what you're doing. And by doing that, you know, you're either going to change your path or, you know, keep fighting through it, or then, you know, and then try to remain present to appreciate the positives that have come from it.
Yeah.
You know, so like Tim, like what you're saying, like, you know, like time, right? And I agree. That's very, very well said, because I've had a handful of experiences of being there with people in their last minutes of life.
Wow.
And
It's heavy.
You know, and
Very heavy.
right, whether it's an elderly person or a traumatic injury, something like that, you know, you never have ever heard anybody saying, "Man, I wish I had more shit." That's what would have made this sweet. It's not that. It is time, and it's a very simple but extraordinarily complex thing to think about. And I think we're all guilty of that, right? Or whether, you know, it's like we always want more. Right? We're always trying to pursue more, whether that's to better your personal situation, your financial situation, your family situation, whatever that is. But we're always in pursuit of that. And I think that sometimes we do have to take a step back and like if my wife's listening to this, she'll be like, you should believe the shit that's coming out of your mouth. because I feel like I'm one of those guys that sometimes I have good things to say, but I have a really hard time doing it myself.
Absolutely.
I'm with you on that.
You know, so it's like, you know, I think of that, but this process, all that, whether it's at night, you know, before you go to sleep, or it's, you know, all day, because you're constantly questioning yourself, you know, more specifically, depending on what's going on in your life. You know, you guys referenced like going through a relationship issue, right? Or whether it's personal issue, or whether it's depression, whether it's this, you know, we all struggle with like those different things. And, you know, I think that when you're in those moments, like that's when you're really critical of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Because it's really easy to be like, oh, this happened because I did X, Y, Z.
Yeah, those are the like, what are those? Those are like the I'm a piece of shit thoughts.
Yeah. And look, as much as it's easy to sit here and say like, you should, you know, take everything as a learning experience, you know, which I completely believe. You have to, at some point in the processing, like chalk it up to, well, I won't do that again, or, hey, that one kind of worked. I'm going to try to continue down this route. Either way, I just think it's important for that self-reflection time to be able to kind of figure out where your priorities are. Because in a perfect world, yeah, dude, it would always remain constant. But we don't live in a perfect world, and we're not all perfect people. And
Jesus was.
You know what? I bet you Jesus didn't lay. No, that's probably not true too.
I know.
Are you kidding? He probably laid in bed going, "Man, people are fucked."
Why'd I create this?
Yeah, it's like this. I was like, "You talking to me?" He's probably walking in, secretly smoking a cigarette and slamming some, you know, ancient coffee and being like, "I got a busy fucking day, Peter.
Oh, the
busy fucking day.
Fucking disciples.
I got to talk to 10,000 people who are questioning, you know, taking the goat around
fish,
back.
They got no bread. I got to fucking create some stuff.
Yeah, I was like, I'm gonna need you, big guy. You know, so I can understand that, and you know, but maybe had a perfect response in handling the understanding of the shitstorm he was walking into.
Yeah.
You know, but again,
Good answer.
But you know what I mean? So I don't know. I think that it's good. I think it's good to have those thoughts. It's good to be open about those thoughts, whether it's open with yourself or with other people. The journey you were talking about in Spain.
Yeah.
I love that kind of stuff.
It's beautiful. I love it too.
Yeah, it's cool.
Because there's nothing better that you can do for yourself. Other one, like you don't seem like an introvert at all. But even if you were,
Should I be offended right now?
what? No, that's
I'm not. I'm kidding. No.
No, but what I mean, like, if, like, let's say someone was in that scenario, putting yourself out there or doing something that is like completely off the wall, but now you create like a mini community in these things, and like you learn so much more about yourself being in uncomfortable positions or having. I mean, look, you said it was right after a divorce. I would imagine that a lot of referencing, at least in the first couple times of meeting people, they ask you, what are you doing here? And you're like, well, I got, you know, however your approach to that was. But in that process, I'm sure like the fourth, the fifth, the sixth time you start referencing it, all of a sudden there's probably these little openings that you have in your thoughts where you're like, oh man, saying this again, like makes me think I'm good. Like this was a great thing for my, I don't know whether it was good.
No,
but I mean,
it's that repetitive self-reflection.
Yeah. And yeah, anyway, I love it when people share stories like that because I feel like that's what a lot of people struggle with, you know? So if they're listening, it's like, I'm not saying do something crazy, but do something outside the norm a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, test yourself, try to, you know, put yourself in an uncomfortable scenario and maybe that opens a gateway or goes, I'm not going to do that again. You know, either way, you're learning something, you know? So anyway, sorry.
I like that thought a lot. No, it was great. It was great. What you made me think of is like, especially with the Camino or just like the things we've talked about, our experiences, I feel like there's this thing in my brain right now where it's like, it's so much less as human about what we do and so much more about who we become. Like that truly is like the heart of this. Like there's endless shit to do and experience and feel, but it really boils down to like, who are you at the end of it as a creature that has the power of reflection and existence and thought and all of that. Who do you become?
Damn, dude. Wow, this is a really good podcast.
I wasn't anticipating
I was like,
kind of show today.
Yeah, this is good.
I like it though, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, it's really good. And I think You also hit on subjects like this with your podcast, right?
Yeah, this actually, these are kind of the conversations that drive me in a lot of my personal thoughts. I love, this. I love hanging out. Sam knows too. I went on a date with Sam. Did you know about that?
Yo.
Sam and I went on a date.
Nice.
Hey, how'd it go?
It was we went to Tom Segura. It was me and a family member, and then these two guys.
Yeah, Sam was my date.
Bro, we had a freaking blast.
Yeah.
And so much so that I got too drunk before the show.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when I sat down in the seat, I'm being so honest with you, I could not see straight. I couldn't focus, dude.
There
I
were
was
three. There were three
this
Tom
guy's
Segura.
funny.
Yeah, there's 3 Tom Seguras.
So I was like, I had to close my eyes and listen, and I was like looking over. They were sitting across the way. It was actually still a good time.
Yeah.
But I wish I didn't go so hard.
Yeah.
So that's what I was gonna say. Like in my time with others, like I love throwing back beer, having fun, doing those exciting things in life. But a large portion of what I've dedicated myself to as a human is these types of conversations, these thoughtful, reflective. Who do we become? What are we? And that's a lot of what my podcast is dedicated to. Like, hopefully encouraging and pushing people towards self-reflection.
Yeah.
I ask a lot more questions than I give answers, just like my church experience or what it became, because I don't think I'm ever going to corner the market in what it means to be human, but I want to be able to push as many people as I can towards the same process I've been on of sit back, think about it, ask questions, be curious, do things you do like that maybe build you out. If there are things that don't add to your life, take them away.
Yeah.
And that's the whole heart of it. But I know because it's my story and my experiences, I have to talk about it through my lens. So it's limited.
Yeah. It's one perspective.
It's one perspective, but I try and ask as many questions as I can in that perspective. So that's kind of the whole goal of my podcast I just want people to think about, I want people to think about themselves,
Yeah.
and who
absolutely.
they are. Yeah.
What? So people find your podcast, at least your Instagram. What's your Instagram handle?
HIMR podcast. Honesty is my religion. So just HIMR podcast, one word, lowercase. And then podcast is on all streaming sources. And then anywhere else? No, that's it. So Instagram and
Actually, and I think this week you did your first video, right?
I did my first video, so I'm coming to YouTube.
I love
Coming
it,
to
baby.
YouTube. Yep.
Let's go. Good.
Yeah.
Very good. I was really tempted to. I think we still have time. Real quick before we start our questions.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Oh man.
Yeah. So like this, just for me, like this week, I've been really struggling with self-worth and kind of just figuring out like what am I like. I've been questioning myself this past what am I doing? Like, am I wasting my time? Like, what's going on? And I thought about my brother who had passed away, and I was just I was in a really people that you guys didn't know, but I was in a downer mood, definitely. And I had a dream last night, and it kind of, I want to say shook me, but I woke up like, okay, I'm on the right path. I was in this hospital, and I'm laying on a bed, and I start moving towards the ceiling, and I'm like, I need to turn around and see what's happening. And there's an old dude. I was like, wow, that's interesting. There's an old guy, and they come in, they're like, they put a blanket over him, right? And I realized, I'm like, dude, I just died. Old guy, though. So I entered the next life. It was really powerful. And when I get to, whether it's heaven or whatever it may be, there's this group of people as I'm like, it was like instantly I was there, super bright, and there's a bunch of like people in their 20s, right? I could tell, I'm like, oh, it was a young crowd. It was cool, whatever, Let's throw some back, people.
Yeah.
And as I start walking to get closer, I recognize everybody. Sam was there. Jordan, my mom and dad were young people in their 20s. My sisters were all young in their 20s. My brother Joel, his wife. And there's some other people that, I care about and love, I think about a lot, that I saw, and I saw my brother Luke. And I couldn't believe it. I'm like, oh my God. And everyone came, and they're like, it's so good to see you. We've been waiting for you. And I saw my brother Luke, and I was like, Luke, oh my God, how you been, this and that. And he just goes, I've missed you. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. Well done. Let me show you around. And I woke up. And I was like,
What?
whoa, that was weird. Yeah, it was wild. And I woke up, and I was very emotional this morning. It was this morning I woke up.
Do you feel like for you? Yeah, that's
Yeah, and it was weird because it's the people who are directly. I'm telling you, like everyone was perfect. I wish I could describe it better, but it was like everyone was in their mid-20s, young, perfect looking. It was weird that I recognized my parents.
Yeah.
And they were young. I was like, what the fuck?
What did it do for that self-worth piece of you that's been struggling or lacking this week? Like, did it inspire it, influence in any way? Did you wake up feeling like you're doing what you're supposed to, or did it change what you feel like you're supposed to be doing?
It changed my feeling internally I remember when I woke up, I was like, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
That's all I remember thinking, like, I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
I'm doing the right thing. Like, I think I need to snap out of it. Whether that dream came from a higher power, whatever it may be, it was needed. Because I was like having just a really down week mentally. I'm like, God dang it, man. And because a lot of people are like, oh my God, you're successful in this, and you podcast, and you got all this stuff. I'm like, it doesn't take away the struggles of life, dude.
Correct.
Like, you still have internal battles and things you have to deal with, you know? And so it was really interesting. I was like, I wonder if I should tell him this on the podcast. I'm like, I'm just going to say it.
I love it. Thank you.
So it was really interesting to see all that, and to see it's almost like all the people you love were there at your, to welcome you into this next life. And then most of all, I saw my brother. I haven't seen, of course, since he died in 2004. But it was like this affirmation, like, we've been waiting for you, this and that. And my brother's like, oh, you did exactly what you're supposed to do. Good job, man. Well done.
Beautiful.
I'll show you around.
That is cool, man.
Wow.
Let's not like downplay that. That sounds like a movie.
Yeah, I was really
how sick is that?
Yeah, I was real emotional this morning, and then I was like, I remember I was rolling out of bed, and I was like, what the? I kind of had some tears, and then I looked at the clock. I was like, stop being a bitch and go cycle.
Hey, I got to ask you.
People!
I got to ask you a serious question about that though. Was I pretty shredded? Did I look good?
Everyone, okay, to be real with you, from what I remember seeing, everyone was like perfect. I wish I could say more, but it was like I knew without
guess
seeing
what?
everybody.
Jesus ain't the only one who's perfect anymore.
That's right, dude.
Congrats, Jordan.
No, it was weird. Like without, I don't even know how I knew this, but without seeing everyone directly, I knew who everybody was.
Yeah.
And everyone just like perfect. And I was like, what the heck? And everyone's just standing around. They were like anxious. Like they couldn't wait for me to get up there.
Dude, that's
or get to where we were going.
That's dope.
So cool. I've never had a dream in my life that I can, at least right now, can recall to. Because like the majority of the dreams that I have, it's like there's snippets right before I wake up.
Yeah.
And it's normally like, "Bah!"
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You're like, why?
I'm alive.
Yeah, why?
I'm
Why?
alive.
Yeah.
You're like, that was weird. What was I doing in a canyon?
You're like, why am I unprepared for this test from 7th grade again?
Yeah.
You know,
right?
why am I naked where I shouldn't be naked? Yeah, those are usually.
Have you ever had a dream where you felt like you were eating something and your teeth were broken?
Okay, no, but I had a dream that I was eating and I woke up chewing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I woke up, my mouth open like,
I had a dream. This was a couple years ago, but like the dream was so real. I thought like I was eating something and it just felt like my teeth started dissolving. And I was like, no. And then I woke up and I'm like, okay, I still got him.
I think that means something though in dreams, right? When your tooth falls out in a dream or you're losing your teeth.
Wisdom and fortune, I'm sure.
Yeah, I thought it was like
cast it for.
Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. I didn't mean to like take it to a weird place.
That was great.
Guys,
That's
but
great.
weird, dude.
It's not
That's
weird at
awesome.
all.
the track that we were on, I was like, I'm just going to share this with you guys and see what
Thank
you
you,
think,
dude.
know? This is wild.
That sounds amazing. I want that dream.
I
agree.
You know, what we were talking about today, because we're wrapping this up, but it's like I really dig, and when I say spiritual experiences, I'm not saying like talking and like, you know, when I think of spiritual experiences, it's what I saw as a kid in church, right?
Yeah.
People are speaking in tongues and waving flag, just doing stuff. But to me, like being out in nature, like I told you, or these dreams, and like there's a connection and there's a reason behind all of it. And for some reason, or for a reason, I needed to have that dream.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know. I want to share with you guys and see what you got.
I appreciate that. That's
It's wild,
great.
you know.
That's great.
I have a thought. What if they were like perfect? Jordan, what are you looking at me like that for, bro?
I was like, because Sam looked exactly the same. Nothing changed about you, Sam. You probably have those white snakeskin boots on, dude.
So hot.
Just snazzy.
Oh yeah, baby, yeah, man. That's exactly what that look said on your face.
Yeah, I was like, what, Sam? You want to know? You look the same, okay?
That was so good. What, Sam? Oh man, what if like the reason like they were perfect was because they were in their they were, but they were in their spiritual form. You know, and our human bodies are literally imperfect.
Right,
Like
right.
we suck.
Yeah.
We can't do shit. And then we die. But the spirit never dies.
Right.
So you saw them in that spirit being form. And you were like, that's why, Jordan, you know, I know you wanted your spiritual form was shredded. and so is mine, and so is Seth's and Tim's, bro.
I was just joking, man. I was just saying it was a setup, but
bro.
Yeah, no, but dude, that's a really cool.
It's interesting. You're probably right because as I was walking up, I remember seeing these. I wish I could. I can't describe what I saw because it was so beautiful, but it was like these huge mountains in the background and birds were flying. It's like a picture, like perfect picture. And I walked through these massive fucking gates with these huge walls that you can't even see over. It went as high as you could see up. And you get through, it was just gorgeous. And everyone was standing there. I was like, what? Like, yeah, we've been waiting for you.
Sam's doing pull-ups on a pterodactyl.
Yeah, man. Yeah, bro. 847, 848.
That was with one arm.
He's not even sweating.
I love it. Well, hey, we got some cards. We're going to ask you some questions. We're all going to answer them. You're going to go first.
Yeah, this is a real great transition from this spiritual personal journey conversations. We're gonna dumb it down a little bit here.
We're gonna
do
stupid.
We're gonna do what time is it here? Yeah, let's do two of them.
Okay, so what's better, being a cowboy or a pirate?
It's got to be a pirate.
Oh, coming from Montana.
Well, no, it's all about that booty.
Woo! My man, that was dope.
Dude.
Ring that. That was dope.
I was not expecting that.
Me either. Damn, that was good. I'm going pirate, dude.
Yeah, man.
I would
Absolutely pirate.
concur. I'd be a pirate as well.
Yep.
Well, that wasn't.
That was easy.
That was too easy. All right, next one. No. Okay. Do you guys sports teams? Is that okay? Do you have anyone play fantasy sports stuff?
Not anymore.
Okay, because this was the funniest names for fantasy sports teams.
You want my funniest name?
Yeah.
Yeah. For a couple years, my go-to name was the Genital Warthogs.
Nice. I had another wiener one too.
Yeah.
Mine was My Dixie Space Normus.
That's great. That's great. Yeah. It was awesome.
As a play on words, it's fun. Yeah.
I didn't have one of those.
Yeah, neither did I.
Yeah.
I did the one this year. It was the Beijing Bidens, but
The Beijing, but people.
I was like, it wasn't a fan favorite. Whatever. Sam, do you have a funny?
Oh no, I didn't have one either, bro. Like those were like amazing.
Oh,
Yeah.
this is years of time and effort.
Yeah.
Trying to be creative.
Yep.
Yeah. So, all right, this is a cool one. It says, what 3 items can you fit in a fanny pack would you choose to bring with you to a deserted island?
Ooh, good. It's the last one. This is good. 3 things in a fanny pack to a deserted island, and no sexual things, because that sex is not going to make you.
Well, there go my 3 dildos. Thanks, Tim.
You'll be dead in a week, bro.
But I'd be happy.
Hey.
Gosh, okay. Probably a knife, some kind of sharp utility knife. What is it, like a flint, like something starting fires?
That's what I was
Not a lighter, but like some kind of like
flint starter.
Yep. Yeah, starter. And then something that would be like a malleable piece of metal that I could use for a while to heat and shape for, like, not for tools, but like maybe like a fish hook or something. I don't know. I've never been straight in the wilderness before. Shit.
You're from Montana, dude.
I'm going to say be a knife.
Listen, I said I'd rather be a pirate for a reason.
Like, if I didn't know anyone's backgrounds here at all coming in here, I would figure you would be the wilderness guy just from where you're from.
That's fair. That's
I know,
fair.
and with the beard.
That's also
And the hat,
true,
yeah,
but it also can go pirate,
I mean, true. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
which are also very.
I would say I would have a knife, a flint rock, right, to start
Yep.
fire. And then, honestly, I would try to stuff as many wet wipes in there as
Dude, I was gonna say that shit. I was like the first thing that came to my head. I was like, wet wipes. Wet wipes.
I'm going to
Yeah.
die, but
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to have a clean booty hole. you know?
Yeah, man. Yes.
If you're on a deserted island, though, couldn't you just like run out into the water and like give
Jordan, why you got
yourself-
to ruin everything?
Right.
It's salty.
Okay, first of all, the wet wipes was the number one thing that I was thinking when I first read the question. So I'm right there with you.
I was like, how
don't
many
know.
packs of wet wipes can I stuff
Exactly.
inside that freaking thing,
Yep.
dude?
Yep.
Oh man.
Also, I will say, in justification of being the wilderness guy, desert island is different than the mountains. So
Correct.
That's true.
So
That's
now,
true.
if you were to ask me the mountains question with the same premise, I wouldn't have an answer either. I'm just trying to justify that I've never been on a desert island.
But he's also a tour guide down like the rapid. What do you do? What is it?
I do historical Lewis and Clark tours down the Missouri River.
What? Why did we not talk about this?
Life's big, man.
Oh, I know. There's so many things.
Yeah, so I take people kind of into the wilderness for like 4 days. And
So you're downplaying it a little bit right now.
yeah, but everything's provided. Like
said
the fanny
3
pack is, yes, I did.
He wears Birkenstocks, dude. Those like Jesus sandals.
Yeah.
With socks or without?
In the winter with, in the summer without. Yeah.
Good for you, dude.
Yeah.
Confidence is what that is.
Jordan, what would you have?
Let's see. I would probably take a hatchet. So it's kind of like tool / knife combo. I would definitely say, I was thinking like instead of the flint starter, you have like one of those magnifying glasses so you can, because it might last longer depending on how long we're going to be there. Or I would be there, I guess, for this hypothetical. And then the last one, I've been trying to think of something funny, dude, and I got nothing. Yeah. I was like, it'd probably be practical. So I'd probably
Toothbrush?
Toothbrush
Practical.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'd like probably wet wipes, even though I know.
A picture of your wife and kids.
Yeah, a cell phone. A self-charging,
With
solar-powered cell phone with Verizon, because they get service everywhere.
A cell phone with the God, what do you call it? Chargers that charge in the sun?
Yeah, solar power.
Solar-powered,
I actually
dude?
have one of those little packs.
Gangster,
That works
dude.
pretty good.
I have one too. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Sam?
Sam, what are you taking, dude?
No, I was thinking the hatchet's dope. And the flint rock, but I mean, the magnifying glasses. Every time you guys answer these questions, I just come up with an amalgam of everything.
Yeah.
And I'm like the best fucking things. And the wet wipes are
You
always.
sit back and hear everything.
Yeah, and I'm like, let me pick from those wet wipes always, I mean, but I don't know where I'd get them from. Well, no, I know they'd be from Sam's Club though, because Sam's Club has those wipes that are like towels. They're fucking massive.
I can't use.
Yes.
I can't.
I know your booty hole is sensitive.
Oh, dude, I can't. I can't use Sam's Club. Sam's Club gave me a massive fucking rash. It was terrible.
Oh, that sucks, dude. What about
Sorry,
Kirkland?
sorry, everybody, but it's
What about
not gonna happen.
Kirkland brand?
Kirkland is the only one I use.
Solid, yeah.
Man, if you can talk about a beautiful dream you've had and existence, you can talk about your butthole. It's fine. It's all about being human.
Honestly, I'm surprised it took an hour and a half to say the word butthole. So I was like, we're pretty loose on this show. So
Well, Seth, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, dude.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite ones so far, dude. We haven't even put it into editing or anything, but this is really awesome.
You know, it's crazy. It's been my favorite too. It's insane.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
But thanks for coming on and being open and talking, and
Yeah.
the things you talked about are tough conversations, but I mean, it was well spoken and well said. So thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, man.
totally. Thanks,
dude,
guys. Appreciate it.
Just getting to know you. But hopefully we can run this back, because I feel like there's a lot more stuff to talk about. And I really enjoy the introspective conversation stuff, whether it's religion or just philosophy, whatever. And I think it's good because people need to hear different perspectives of things, and appreciate your openness and honesty. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's a lot to take away from, the last hour or so, other than the butthole comment.
Other than the butthole comment.
Nah, dude, just keep doing you, man. And hopefully we get you on here again soon. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, thanks so much. Let's get a let's go on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Let's go.
Bye, everybody. And that's it. Thank you for listening in, everybody. We'd like to thank our sound engineer who makes this podcast happen and makes us sound very good, Stephen Clark. And to our first sponsor, 89 Barbers. Look good, feel good, be great. Come get your haircut at 2 locations, Long Beach and in Orange, California. Your appointment can be booked at 89barbers.com. That is EIGHTNINE BARBRERS. 89barbers.com. Again, look good, feel good, be great. Check it out. It's my barber. He is the man. Thanks, everybody. Bye.